What is a fact about the human body that not many people know about? The hyoid bone is a bone not attached to any other bones in the human body and is only considered the anchor of the tongue. Our brains make up, on average, around 2% of our body weight but consume 20% of our caloric intake. Humans have, on average, just as many hairs on their body as chimpanzees. Human hair is just a lot shorter and finer. And mostly on my ass. There are tiny cilia that spin in a certain direction. If they spin in the opposite direction while you're developing in the womb early on, that is how you get organs transposed onto the opposite side of your body. Synovial joint fluid is the most frictionless stuff on the planet, unless they've synthesized something up that recently, it's superlube. When doing surgery where the doctors have to take out some organs, when placing them back, they don't have to be put back in the exact position they're meant to be, your body kind of just moves the organs into the correct position after the surgery. Yeah, I had a pelvic surgery recently and the surgeon casually mentioned, "Oh yeah, we moved your bowels around a bit so that's what's causing the gas pains." Medical procedures are always unsettling because the professionals are so used to it, so you get things like this where they are not worried but you're like, "What did you say?" We just tossed everything back in there in the end. It may take a few days to settle. My dad watched my mom's C-section. This is straight up what they did. My mom's only complaint was that she was a little cold. I saw a doctor wipe off my wife's uterus with a rag like a mechanic cleaning off a piston before shoving it back into her like it was a pillow going into her pillowcase, i.e. body. The momentous occasion of becoming a father was powerful. Watching the doc's work was WTF. If you faint at the sight of your own blood, you may have an oversensitive vasovagal response. The theory is that this developed as a survival mechanism, kind of like an opossum playing dead. Oh, I've just always diagnosed myself as a pussy. You can grow a new human being faster than most missing toenails can grow back. I lived this last year. I was about a month into my pregnancy when I caught my toe on something in the garage. It peeled back the top half of the nail, but I quickly pushed it back down, and to my surprise the nail stayed on even though it bled, then turned black after. I remember being about 8 months pregnant and wondering if the toenail would be finished growing out so no more black showed by the time the baby arrived. I think I still had a sliver of black when I gave birth. So that took about 8 months for just the top half of the toenail to grow out. Thank you. This was horrifying to read. Pregnant women have 50% extra blood. Is that why they are often said to look radiant and stuff? Yep. The pregnant glow is more blood and oilier skin. You're glowing. Sounds much better than you're so oily and full of blood. You hate the sound of your recorded voice because it's missing the low frequency you're used to hearing. When you talk, you hear your voice as it goes to the air and back to your ear. It also goes through your skull to your ear, and this bone conduction mechanism transmits the low frequencies better than air does. Your recorded voice only has the air transmitted sound. That causes the dissonance between what you think your voice sounds like, and what it really does. It's also why your voice will, almost, always be higher pitched than you think. That explains why people say I have a cute little voice when I always heard myself as sounding all baritone for a lady. Your eyes have a separate immune system from the rest of your body, and in a lot of occasions if your body's immune system finds your eyes, they will assume they are a foreign body and blind you. WTF. The human body's immune system is a twitchy redneck with a bad eye and a really big shotgun. In fact, when you have a viral infection, most of the time it's not the virus itself that kills you. It's your immune system going so high on alert when the infection gets severe that it starts attacking your own organs as well, desperately trying to destroy all of the virus. This is the case with our friend COVID-19. And in a bit of a tangent, bats having evolved to fly also resulted in them having a dampened inflammatory response, so they are commonly host to many viruses without showing any symptoms. When you get conditioned to physical activity, your circulatory system adapts, more blood, more vessels, more blood cells. But your lungs really don't. This is because no matter how much blood your heart is able to deliver to your lungs, the lungs still have no problem oxygenating it. This is why your oxygen saturation doesn't drop during exercise, unless you have a heart defect. Is that why regardless of how much I exercise I can't go up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing? Humans have stripes, we just normally can't see them. They're called Blaschko's lines and form along the paths of embryonic cell migration. The stripes are sort of U-shaped down our front, V-shaped on our back, wavy on the head and face, and we have basic, simple stripes on our extremities. So, why can't we see them? Usually the differences in pigmentation are so minor that it's just not easily seen, though there are some conditions that can make the striping more obvious. You can also see Blaschko's lines by using a UV light if the light is strong enough. Careful using a UV light, you can burn the shit out of yourself. That's how you get the stripes, obviously. Your brain regulates how strong your muscles are. If your leg muscles were to contract at full strength, they would snap your femur. It's why people in emergencies on adrenaline can lift cars off children. Your body is capable of great strength, but it could also severely damage you, so your brain keeps you a weak, soft bag of jelly. Your stomach is surrounded by more brain cells, 500 million neurons, than the brain of a cat contains in total. It's your enteric nervous system. It controls digestion, operates autonomously, has its own memory, can handle its own reflexes, it has its own senses even. It's thought to have come about because of the blood-brain barrier and the main brain being locked away in the skull, a spinal column and nerves away from the critical action of nutrition. I had a friend in college that would always say this was why your stomach feels weird when you use hallucinogens. I always thought he was joking when he would say your stomach has a brain so your stomach trips too. I'm tripping out over this comment, WTF. Every minute you shed over 30,000 dead skin cells off your body. I'm eating lunch while I'm reading this. And wondering how many have fallen into my mac and cheese? Bon appetit. Sounds like free panko breadcrumbs. The eyeball is the fastest healing part on your body. You will sooner die from lack of sleep than lack of food. You can live, depending on your current body fat and health level, for months without food. Estimates are that you will die for lack of sleep within 2 weeks. I stayed up for 3 days straight in college finishing my senior engineering project. After I turned it in, I crashed hard for a couple hours, but dreamed I killed a girl with a pair of scissors. My mom was visiting and found a pair of earrings and started asking whose they were, and I knew that she had figured out I was a murderer. When I woke up, I went out and told my buddy that I think I killed someone. He kinda laughed, but I sure wasn't. I felt absolutely horrible about it. It literally took me 2 full days before I could finally say that I probably hadn't killed anyone, but it was a full week before I totally convinced myself. I'd pulled all-nighters before and saw shadows move and the usual minor hallucinations, but this was a totally different level of weird. When my daughter was a newborn, I was very sleep deprived. One day she was sleeping upstairs and I started to imagine that she was going to go down the stairs looking for me. I was a very real feeling, and it took me a while to convince myself that it was impossible. In theory, humans could breathe a liquid if it was supersaturated with oxygen. It wouldn't be easy because the density of liquid being so much higher than air, so after 15 minutes or so you would be too fatigued to continue breathing. The hardest part is getting all the liquid out of the lungs so the person doesn't get pneumonia. There is such a liquid. It is called perfluorocarbon. It has proposed uses in diving, space travel, medical treatments and torture. Source https://n.am.wikipedia.org Wiki liquid breathing #text these %20 fluid %20 is %20 perfluorocarbon %2c %20 also, and %20 sticking %20 together %20 during %20 exhalation. And here I thought that was just a plot device from the abyss. And they filmed it actually using the substance with the rat. So you can actually see it in use. That was real? Yep. The rat shat itself though, which is understandable. Human eggs are small but big enough to be visible to the human eye. They are also the largest cell in the human body. The sperm is the smallest.